All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a banger episode of Simply Cyber Firesides. I'm your host, Gerald Auger, and today I'm absolutely wicked thrilled to bring you a conversation with someone who has been making extraordinary waves in the cybersecurity recruitment and community building space. Our guest today is Paul Charles, known affectionately in the cybersecurity world as the Job Father. And that nickname is absolutely well earned. Paul is an experienced cybersecurity recruiter who has dedicated his career to building a safer digital world through connecting the right talent with the right opportunities. Now, Paul currently serves as a senior consultant at Decipher Bureau, Australia's leading independent cybersecurity recruitment company, while also volunteering his time as a committee member for the Queensland branch of the Australian Information Security Association. His impressive career spans years of specialized security recruitment across both the UK and Australia, with experience at organizations like CyberSec People, Forward Role Recruitment, and Technical Cyber. But what truly sets Paul apart is his passion for community building, which is one of the reasons I vibe so well with Paul and why I know you will as well. He's the owner and CEO of Cyber Jobs Hunting Discord server. He's created one of the largest cybersecurity communities in the world with over 13,000 members active and just being engaged. Good times. It's one of the few Discord servers that's in the Simply Cyber Discord server as a true partner server because I know what they're doing over there and I love it. This incredible platform, it provides free resume help or CV, depending where you are in the world, interview tips, job boards from recruiters and line managers across the globe. And it's all aimed at helping you and other people navigate their way into the cybersecurity industry and level up within the industry. Paul's expertise, the guy that we're going to be talking with for the next hour, bridges both technical knowledge, particularly in the offensive security space like pen testing and red teaming, and the human side of cybersecurity careers. He has deep experience working with government organizations, and he understands the intricacies of security clearance processes, making him an invaluable resource for both job seekers and employers in the cybersecurity space. Now, before we dive into the conversation, I want to remind everyone here, if you're a long timer, you know this. If you're a first timer, let me introduce you. And if you've just been busy, I want to remind you, everyone watching this right now can participate in the discussion. I kind of expect you to. Paul is such an asset, such an amazing resource, such a wealth of knowledge, especially on the job market as it is this moment. So if you have questions, I already see them coming in. Put a Q in front of them. Drop your questions in the comments, and I will do everything within my power and alongside the mod team to help get those questions addressed, as soon as possible throughout the session. Your engagement is what actually makes these conversations valuable for the entire community. The questions you're thinking about asking, I guarantee you there's a whole bevy of people who have the same question and are just a bit nervous to ask. So take that step, take that initiative, drop it in chat. Paul's going to blow your minds, I promise you. So without further ado, please, if you're a squad member, throw those Oprah emotes in chat. Let Paul know how much we're excited for him. And let's give a warm Simply Firesides welcome to Paul Charles. I'll go get him. Wait right there. It's going to be a good one. What's up, Paul? How are you?
Good day, thanks. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I'm great, man. I'm super excited. Love having you on the show. If you're a longtime Simply Cyber community member, you'll recognize Paul. He was on he's been on 2-3 times, but the last time was when we had a panel of like an Australian recruiter, a UK, Canadian, American, and we were like kind of like running the world, if you will, from a cybersecurity recruitment perspective. But Paul, now a UK expat living in Australia for very good reasons. Paul, it's super happy to have you here. I just want to dive right in. I see the questions coming in. Dude, what is the current state? What's the reality of the current state of the cybersecurity market as it is today?
I'd say it wants to be confident, but there's so many other factors that are hitting. And maybe take a step back as well. I think tech in general has been in recession since that bank in California, the one that financed all of the startups, when that went bust, tech just wasn't growing very much, and that's obviously had a knock-on effect on the cybersecurity world. So this is global. This is not just Australia, UK, USA. This is a global thing that I'm seeing, and what we're seeing here is the market has. I think we've hit rock bottom, sort of end of last year, and it's starting to come back. But it's coming back, it's sort of sputtering. It's not coming back with a vengeance. We'll get people all hands on deck one week, and then the week after it will be stop. We need to regroup. We need to rethink because of something that's happened overseas, politically or otherwise. And then that will calm down, and then they'll resume. So it is trying to come back. There's other factors that are weighing in, but yeah, I think it's just a confidence thing at the moment.
Yeah, are you seeing it kind of play out on the tech industry on a global level? And I know you're in Australia now, but obviously you have your finger on the pulse of all the other things. Is it more containerized to Israel because of what's going on there, in the United States because of what's going on with all the different shifts, or is it really global?
I'd say it's global. Every country's got issues at the moment. Unfortunately, there's no land of milk and honey at the moment, sadly, shall we say. And it's a global thing. Obviously, different issues in different countries. US is political. Europe is also political / war because of what's going on in Ukraine. Israel, obviously, war. So there's lots of. Each country has its own challenges, its own problems, but it all adds up. And the other thing to think about is if you look at economies, they're often very linked. So, US to Europe, vice versa, or Europe to Canada, whatever it might be, they're all very linked. We all trade with each other, and there's been a lot of disagreement on how we trade with each other recently. So that's also had an effect. I don't think we'll see the impact just yet. I think that will take time because it's quite a new phenomenon, and they usually take a quarter, maybe more, to have an impact. But watch this space, I think.
We have a question from Bilal, and this is I love this question to start the show with because it's such a common question. And I know, Bilal says he's an aeronautical engineer, graduate in London, which is not common. Okay. So I'm not saying that's the common, but you want to get into cyber, you want to get into pen testing specifically, and you have no IT experience. What's the best way to get in? I get this question daily, Paul. So what is your guidance to individuals who present this?
So obviously reskilling, they're not in IT. So you probably best bet is to do a certification. For pen testing in the UK, you want to look at an SCP, or you want to look at a cyber scheme CSTM. I have a follow-up question for that person is, are they eligible for security clearance? If they aren't, then do OSCP. If they are, CSTM. Because with that, you can become a check team member, and they are in demand. Check is pen testing, vulnerability scanning, pen testing, UK Gov. But it can be local councils. So it sounds exciting. I'm hacking the government, but it's actually hacking the local council, which isn't so exciting.
That's funny. So another, I guess this is this is something that I say on the regular, and I guess I want to fact check it with somebody like yourself who would be well informed. When I talk to people about jobs, right? Cybersecurity is like science, right? You got to be more specific about what you want. And people are like, well, I just want to work in cybersecurity. And I say, if you take all the jobs like by category in a pie, the pen testing pie slice is very small, and the SOC pie slice is very big. And GRC, at least in the US, GRC is like getting a bigger piece of pie for all different reasons. Is that a fairly accurate assessment? Because Bilal's talking about becoming a pen tester, but not all roles are created equal as far as opportunity.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to go towards pen testing because it's the more glamorous of the roles out there. It's, oh, I'm going to hack things, and it just from someone external, it sounds very glamorous. It sounds very chic, shall we say? Whereas a SOC analyst, it doesn't sound as it's, I'm doing tickets. That's not glamorous. That's not as attractive from someone who's not done it, who's not experienced it. But what I would say is that SOC has a lot more opportunity once you've been doing it for a bit. There's more ways to go out of it. So instant response, digital forensics, threat intel. A lot of them started in a SOC. So there's more ways out. And the other thing I'd also highlight is, yes, there's pen testing, SOC, GRC, but there's also things like sales. No one ever thinks about security sales, but that is also, yes, with recruiter, I'm in sales, so I'm going to promote it. But yes, I'm not hands on keyboard, doing stuff, but it's still a vital function in cybersecurity. And if you have a bit of sales skills, it's also worth considering.
Yeah. So like, be real honest, but definitely couch your words so you don't crush my soul. Where is is anyone coming to you and being like, I want to work in GRC? Like, is GRC hot? Like, is it starting to get a little bit of traction where people are like, hey girl, hey, I see you, GRC?
There's something for everyone. I think that's the wonderful nature of cybersecurity, and there are people who do want to do GRC. They find that fascinating. I just recruited for pen testers in the UK, so I personally don't see the appeal. But there are people out there who are wanting to get into GRC. More power to them. If they do the right things.
There you go. It's official. Paul Charles said GRC's hot. Okay, so Mark Tape, Paul Charles said it. We got a ton of questions coming in. I knew this episode was going to have so many questions. Chris Cahall, what are the most valuable cyber projects or home labs that candidates should showcase to stand out? What's something that you should be definitely putting on your resume or going out of your way to get so you can put it on your resume?
Yeah, so obviously it depends on what you want to do, but anything. So if you're like pen testing, for example, your Try Hack Me, Hack the Box profile should go on there. If you've got doing anything with code and you've got a GitHub, as long as your GitHub's clean, put that on there. You can even do a blog. So if you've got a home lab that's not using any of those things, start a blog and start documenting what you're doing. So let's say today I used a Raspberry Pi and I made a speaker, or whatever project it is you're building using a Raspberry Pi. Just document everything, and like, this is the code I used to get it to work, this is the wirings, and just do that and have it on a blog, and then you can just stick the blog on your resume. Easy.
There you go. Rebellious Rainbow Unicorn, Paul. Why are there a few people saying every week that entry-level cybersecurity is wide open, but others say it's saturated? This is another like common I trope, I guess, for lack of a better term. What's going on with this?
Yeah, I think the problem starts with job descriptions. So you see things advertised as entry level and they're not. I don't need to dive into that. I think everyone's seen that phenomenon. It's one of those that, they talk about the cyber skills gap. At entry level, there isn't really a skills gap because there's lots of people trying to get in. But the people trying to get in, there's two categories. There's ones who are passionate, they will get in. There's ones who are in it for the money. Now, they might get in, but they won't last very long. So it's like, how do you get in, I guess, is the follow-up question to that. How do you get over this barrier? I'd say start networking. In person, ideally. So if there's any local events, make sure you're getting to them. If you can't afford tickets to local events, try and just hang out in a bar nearby. So if you can't afford Black Hat Vegas, which is fair enough, it's not cheap, stay in one of the pubs or bars outside, because everyone comes out and has a drink afterwards, and you'll be able to spot them because they'll have the badge around them. So just go and say hi. There you go. Listen to that. Paul Charles, life hacking. I love that. We'll give you the Ric Flair woo for that one, bro. I like that. Hubui, who's a relatively newcomer to the community, he dropped his first timer in Daily Cyber Threat Brief, I think
the beginning of this week. So a fresher, if you will. Someone looking for an entry-level cyber role, how does he build up his network? What's the best way to maintain it?
Well, we've already talked about meetups and stuff. Definitely get to those. LinkedIn is also very powerful. Just make sure your page is looking good, it's got all the relevant things in there. Then what you want to do is connect with as many senior people as possible, so heads of, CIOs, CTOs, whatever. Always say hello. Don't just connect with them, because I see a lot of people connecting with me, but they don't even say why they're connecting, who they are, all of that stuff. So always drop a note. Hi, my name's Huey. I think I've said that properly. And I'm looking for work in cyber. I've done all this so far. Can you help? Not because you have a job, because that might be too pushy, but can you help? Most people will want to help you. Those that don't want to help you, you probably don't want to work for anyway.
Good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Feel them out. Don't. Always remember it's a two-way street, right? Conversations and stuff. You should never be subject yourself to toxicity or anything like that, just for the benefit of the work. Also, another great tip in there about volunteering at events. That's always a good way to get networking. Okay, so Ibukun Oludude has a and I hope it's pronounced Oludude, because I think that sounds so cool. How can I land a remote cyber internship? And I'd like to take one step back on this one, Paul. And what is the realistic back? I'm not going to hold you to this, but back of the napkin math. What percentage of jobs are remote versus not remote? And then how would you land a remote internship? Excuse me.
Obviously, it depends on the country. Australia, I'd say a lot of it's hybrid now. I'd say a good 70-80% of all the work's hybrid.
Okay.
The rest being, so maybe 60% hybrid, 20% in the office, and then the rest is remote. There is a trend of work being pulled back into the office. That's a global thing. In the US, you got, I think it was Amazon pulled everyone back in the office. Even Zoom has.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
So the opportunity for internships, especially, internships, you really want to be in the office, because that's the best place you can learn, sitting next to someone, seeing what they're doing in real time. Whereas if you're remote, it's much harder to do that. I get, maybe there's not as much opportunity where you are, and I get that. That it can be difficult to find something, but it's also probably much harder to find a remote internship as well, because you're competing with people from all over the world in that case, and you've got to make sure you are the best person.
Yeah, it is a good point about the point of an internship is to get experience. So if you're not in the office, you might miss that. I'm gonna read this one from Michaela Richards. It's a long one, so I'm not gonna leave it up on the stage here. But Michaela says she's working towards AWS Cloud Practitioner cert. By the way, great profile photo, Michaela, on your LinkedIn. It very professional looking. I received my CompTIA Sec Plus cert last year, awarded my associate's degree in cyber this spring. I also created a Medium account for weekly blogging. I'm going to keep reading it. And she's currently adding it to her GitHub. What do you recommend in strengthening her odds of getting an entry-level cloud engineer role? So she's got Sec Plus, AWS Cloud, she's blogging, and she wants to get an entry-level cloud engineer role.
Well, we've already covered some of the things, but volunteer at events, go to events, and I'd say, just connect with people on LinkedIn, heads of cloud, heads of cloud security, that sort of level, and even people who might report to the heads of cloud. So just people who are doing the job you want to do, and just above that. And again, hi, this is who I am. This is what I've done. I'm looking to break into the industry. Can you help?
There you go.
Just keep doing that.
What's that?
So just keep doing that.
Yeah.
Don't stop. Yeah.
That's another thing that I tell people, Paul. I'd love your thoughts on it. I say, well, first of all, I say I can't guarantee you a job, but I say if you just do these things, I can't tell you 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, but I keep equating it to throw a bunch of seeds in the field and water them. And I can't tell you which one's going to grow, but I promise you one will grow. I've seen it happen time and time again. Do you think that's a fairly accurate kind of take on the situation?
Yeah, it's something where you won't. I mean, you might get lucky first go, and someone will offer you a job. It can happen. Realistically, it will take a couple of months, and you've just got to keep going.
Yeah, there you go.
You've got to water your plants.
So I love all the questions coming in. I'm going to continue to flag these, but I do want to take a hot minute here and talk about one of these resources that the job father himself manages. So let's talk about your Discord server really quick, Paul. So, and by the way, this is Paul's LinkedIn. I will drop this everywhere, but check this out. Whoops, hold on. If you look right here, on his LinkedIn profile, join my Discord server. Okay. This is what it looks like when you click through join his Discord server. I'm going to continue to Discord and see if it pulls up. And this is it. Cyber job hunting. Okay. And you could see, obviously I've got a ton of, people judge me. Paul, do people judge you for the number of tabs you have open? I get judged for tabs and the number of like notifications I have. Is that you?
Nah, I ignore them.
All right. So this is the server for cyber jobs hunting. What are you doing with this Discord server and why is it awesome?
Yeah, so I mean, the reason I created I was getting a lot of questions asked about, breaking into cyber, all of that stuff. And I just didn't necessarily have the time to help everyone because I've got to do my job too, So what I thought I'd do is have a brain dump and start putting everything in one place, and then I can just direct people there. So I'm still helping them, but I'm also selfishly saving my time, I guess but what happened was it sort of snowballed and everyone started helping each other, so it actually became really, really useful. Some of the things that we put, so if you go scroll down on that, look at the career channels, there's a how do I become. If it's not on there, it should be. If not,
which one? I see.
It's got a brain dump.
What's that?
It's got a brain dump. So it's how to become a SOC analyst, including free training in the beginning, right way through to becoming a SOC analyst.
Okay. Is it under InfoSec resources maybe or career development?
No. If you've got to go to the other side and scroll down a bit, and it will be I can't remember exactly what it is.
How do I become?
Yeah.
So cool.
Up, DFIR, so that was the last one that someone put.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Wow.
First of all, what is it? What are the skills required? So it has quite an in-depth brain dump there. This was written by a SOC analyst, so someone who's doing the job, and then some free training.
Oh, look at this. GRC getting some love and Simply Cyber. Yes, sir. I love it. Let's double down on this. Thank you, Paul Charles. This is so cool. And then, of course, pen testers. So for the for the fringe people like Tyler Ramsby out there, you can be a pen tester as well. So literally, all you have to do is go to Paul's LinkedIn page, and it's right there. His link to Discord. You guys, Paul, you guys do like resume roasts, like live roasts and stuff, right?
Yeah,
what events you guys do?
Yeah, so basically the idea is you put your CV or resume on the channel, take off your PII, so make sure your phone number isn't there, and we roast it live. So we will say how terrible your CV is in no uncertain terms, sometimes in not safe for work terms. But the idea is it's 5 minutes of pain, because having something you've created torn apart is painful. But there is constructive feedback. It's not just me having a go. We will tell you how to fix it. And over the years, quite a few people have gotten work from it. It has actually helped, as long as they take on board the advice. They don't just ignore it. Then people have actually gotten work from it. So
that's help. Phenomenal. Yeah, so definitely go over to it's called the Cyber Jobs Hunting Discord server. You can like literally get to it multiple ways. You can get to it from Paul Charles' LinkedIn page where it's right beneath his face and it says, go to my Discord server. You can go on the Simply Cyber Discord server under partner servers or partner, I think it's partner servers. Chris Whitlock just recently did partner Discords. We only have a few, but this is one of them. And the reasons that Paul outlined just now are exactly why we feel that way. And Paul,
and
like,
if you're in Australia, I've made a spin-off. So if you're in Australia, join that one instead.
Okay, right on. I love it. Okay, so let's keep the questions going, Paul. This is quite phenomenal. Is the OSCP valuable?
Yes.
All right. All right. Lightning round. Yeah. Is how can Ibn Oladude, yes, sir. How can he land a cyber internship? Okay, so we talked about remote internships, but let's just talk about internships in general. Like, what's a strategy for people getting internships?
It's probably a very similar strategy to getting an entry-level job. It's building that network, connecting with people, asking for help, going to events, volunteering. It's very, very similar strategies.
All right, there you go. So, Ibakun, like basically anything you hear about entry-level cyber, you can apply it to that internship. Adam G over on LinkedIn says, someone with IT knowledge through certs and schooling, but no sales experience. You mentioned sales in security. Can you do sales without sales experience?
You can. It's one of those sales, you've got to show hunger, because obviously we get paid through commission mostly, and you make commission by selling, and you sell by being passionate and hungry. So it's, the IT knowledge that will help, obviously, because you know what you're selling, so you don't have to train someone to explain what they're doing. It's the sales side, you just got to be a bit more, show you're hungry, that will help. You could also consider pre-sales as well. So you're not selling per se, other people are doing the cold calls, doing the cold emails, the reach outs, that sort of thing. You're just responding to them afterwards and making sure what they've sold is correct and is actually possible. You can actually do this test in 3 days. Actually, it takes a week.
And I will say, one of the things that I have always found interesting about sales in cybersecurity is it pays very well. On average, it pays very well. Now, obviously, there's roles that suck, and there's roles that are completely commission based, and you have to sell to make the money. But a lot of people I know that work in sales, very happy with the with the money associated with it.
That's why you got to be hungry.
Yes,
you're going to be hungry to make that money. If you're not, you won't make that money, and you'll be sad.
So speak of the devil, we got one Tyler Ramsby from Hack Smarter. I don't know if you've heard of Hack Smarter, Paul, but it's a very similar community to what we're doing. And Tyler,
I think I've heard of Tyler.
Yeah, he's a good people. He says he has people often ask him about getting a remote pen testing job in the U.S., but they live overseas, right? What are your thoughts on that? Like, do companies have an appetite for hiring people remotely that just don't happen to reside in the same country as the business?
Only if they've got a entity in your country, and in which case they will pay you local rates. If you want a US wage but based in another country, it's very, very difficult. The problem is when you're paying someone overseas, the tax man doesn't like it. And you've got to, because I've had contractors in the States, and we had to fill in this big form to send to the US federal government to say, no, we are not money laundering. Yes, this is a person who is doing work, but you have to go through so many hoops to do that. And it's just easier to hire an American. If you're going to pay American wages, just hire locally.
Yeah. So, I mean, actually, that's a really great response and very interesting insight. So, it's almost full of friction and a burden for a business to hire an international entity. It's the same thing. Honestly, it feels very similar to like hiring just in general in cybersecurity. Like if I know someone that can do the job, I'm not going to open a rec and interview a bunch of people. I'm just going to ask them if they want the job. You know, I have people helping me with Simply Cyber, and like that's how that conversation went. So, you know, if you're internationally trying to get a job in the States, you know, you've got a little bit of additional hurdles and challenges to overcome, which I would argue is why it's so vitally important to network effectively and have relationships with people, because then they will be willing to incur that additional friction and burden for you because they know who you are and they know that you can help them versus just kind of someone cold applying.
Yeah.
Josh Fridley got his bachelor's degree in cyber. Boom. The Ric Flair button's going to get worn out today, Paul. And he's got 3 years of system admin work, TA for cybersecurity boot camp. What should he do to get in? What do you say to this individual? He's got a lot of the things in the right places.
Depends what you want to do, though, isn't it? It's I want a job. It's almost like I want a job in cyber question. Now, background is sysadmin, CompTIA Sec Plus, could be a good SOC route, maybe. Could also, if you do an OSCP, could be a great pen tester because you've got all the basics. So there's a few routes to get in. So, but again, once you've figured out what you want to do, so if you're not sure, there's lots of free labs online. So if you're pen testing, so try Hack Me, Hack the Box. Just try a few of them. If you don't like it, there's Blue Team Labs online for more Blue Team stuff. There's lots of other training, isn't there? So have a look around, figure out what you want to do, and then apply what we said before. So if you want to be a SOC analyst, connect with heads of SOC, other senior SOC analysts, heads of Blue. I just dropped it in their instant responses where they want to go. So yeah, exactly that. So start with SOC, work your way up, ask for help.
Yeah. I would do that. I mean, honestly, I would do like exactly what Paul's saying. And Josh, have you been here for the whole conversation? You heard me say earlier that of jobs when there's pie slices, SOC analyst, I will tell you, you know, again, Paul, I'd love for you to chime in if you fact check or have additional thoughts. Josh, you got to understand, you can get a lot of SOC analyst entry level jobs, but you might have to work a night shift. You might get burned, like they grind you, but you do get you get a ton of experience, and you'll probably start like dealing with fishes, and then they'll escalate you onto harder things, and then eventually you'll get into actual real incident response instead of just handing it off to somebody. But there's a ton of opportunity. I hope you really enjoy the work, because it will. If a threat actor attacks on Christmas Eve, you can't punt it until the 26th because you've got plans. Like, and when you're new, when you're the junior, guess who pulls that shift? You, right? Because the senior guy's like, no way, man. I did that shift 10 years ago when I was new. I'm not doing that again, unless they want to or whatever. But just kind of some of those things to give consideration for. So, like, Josh is like, oh my God, I don't know if I want. What's this guy doing to me? Okay, TG Artist Paul, new to cyber as well. Did a Google Cyber Cert, doing Try Hack Me, Learning Path, Pen Tester. Want to prepare for CompTIA, A+ and CompTIA. I guess there's no question that I see there, so maybe just letting you know that they're killing it.
Well, I just say I don't know where country, if they are in the States or if they're somewhere else, but I just say for your next search, look at what the local jobs boards want for pen testers and go for that. So if they want OSCP, that's what you got to do.
Also, I just saw something in here that I want to point out for TG Artists. Another thing that I promote, and I would love someone like you, Paul, to agree or disagree. Okay, I think it's very important. TG Artist says, I'm preparing for CompTIA A+, and let's assume Sec Plus and Net Plus, okay? All the three, CompTIA trifecta. I tell people to not get the A+ and not get the Net Plus. Get the knowledge, but do not pay to take the exam and get the certification, because I don't think the certifications have any value in the market. They're not going to get you a job. The Security Plus will get you a job. The Security Plus will help you get a job, right? But A+ and Net Plus, in my opinion, are not worth spending the money to get the cert. What are your thoughts on that?
A+, yeah, I wouldn't really bother. Net Plus can be useful in certain ways. It's just like proving you've got the basic network knowledge. so it can be useful. A plus, not so much.
Okay, there you go. So a little extra insights, TG artists, because I love people doing the free stuff first, and I really don't want people to spend money on something chasing, when it's not what they think it is. Cam Godot, also kind of a relatively recent member joining the Simply Cyber community, looking to contact some local cyber orgs about 10, 15-hour week internship, get my hands dirty in some GRC mafia auditing. I love that. Oh, by the way, Paul, since you've been gone, I've been like labeling and pushing GRC mafia. Like I'm on a whole campaign to make GRC socially acceptable. So we've coined GRC mafia because like we're here and we're like, it would be a shame if something bad happened around here.
You should do some concrete shoe merch.
Do some what?
Some merch with like concrete shoes.
Oh yeah. That's so funny. Oh yeah, that's wicked funny. So what do you think about? Is it tacky to ask if they would pay? So basically, he's reaching out to some like a local church or a local nonprofit and saying, "Hey, I'd love to do some GRC work to help you out, maybe audit you for whatever reason." So that's kind of one thing. And then, is it tacky or odd to ask for payment? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. Sometimes they do pay. Asking for pay can mean that they don't give you the internship. So it's a tricky one because you obviously want this to get the experience. So it's, at the end of the day, it depends what you're doing, I guess. So if they bring you in for GRC and they ask you to do all of the auditing for ISO 27001, which is a big job, can be a big job depending on the organization. But if you're doing a lot of work for free, you can ask for money. Because they have to pay you as well.
I think to the question's point, like it depends what you're trying to do. Like if you're trying to get experience so you can put it on the resume so you can like sell yourself. Like I know when you get exploited in an internship where they don't pay and they expect you to do stuff, that's a different story. But I mean, if you're actively going after it, you might even be able to parlay it. Like, I mean, what you're talking about, Cam, is a consulting business. So you could literally do some work free as basically like see how great this is. And then if they ask you to come back, you'd say, I'd be happy to come back. But, I don't have free time anymore. So I have a rate. And then now you get into the fun world of pricing and how pricing works with consulting and underbidding, undercharging yourself, and then feeling like a fool, and then overcharging, not getting the work. All right. So Jason's got 5 years in defensive function. I have 5 years in defensive functions. Is that a British term or... I don't know.
He's in the States, so I'm guessing I've not heard of that.
No, I'm not sure what that means. Let's just assume he means like blue team.
Yeah.
He's been applying for jobs in the States, but haven't had any luck. What advice do you get? What advice do you have to get an interview? Okay, so he's applying but not getting the interview. What's his holdup? Where should he fix this?
It's down to your network, I think. I'm seeing a lot of people say I've applied for loads of jobs and not had any feedback, not had any anything from it. And the problem is, like, especially LinkedIn these days, but even jobs boards, they've got this easy apply button. It's just so easy to smash that easy apply, and everyone's doing it. And so you're then bombarded, if you're advertising, with 1,000 CVs or resumes, and sometimes you don't have enough time to skim through them all properly, and you get missed. What I would say to you, Jason, is every role you've applied for, connect with the line manager who might be the line manager. Just say, hey, I've applied, no obligation, to interview me. I've applied, just want to make sure that my CV doesn't get lost. I am super interested in working for you. Do that lots of times. Now, it might be that one day the guy you do that to, we filled the role, we're happy, sorry to waste your time, sort of thing. But then 2 months later, that person who started that role actually left. And you would be front of mind. It would be, we don't have to advertise because Jason here is already connected with me. So I'll just ask Jason, are you still looking? Off you go.
There you go. And that's definitely like one of those examples of like watering the seeds, right? You never know. Like, honestly, guys, I'm telling you this is like just a fact. You never know who's watching. right? And that doesn't mean you're supposed to be like act fraudulent, you know what I mean? But like you never know who's watching. Like right now, Paul and I are interviewing each other, or I'm interviewing him, and we're having a good time and everything like that. And then like maybe in 6 months or something, something comes across Paul's desk, and he's like, "Oh my god, this is Jerry all day." And reach out to me, right? Because it's in Paul's best interest to fill slots. So, hey, Jerry, are you even looking? You know what I mean? Like just stuff like that. Like I'm not having Paul on because I hope he calls me in 6 months for a job. You know what I'm saying? So you never know who's watching, and just kind of put good out there. Tyler Ramsey's got a good question here. TryHackMe just launched their Sal 1 certification. This is like a blue team kind of entry level practical skill SOC analyst. I actually have some content coming out around this if you're interested. But Tyler Ramsby actually made a video with his face on the thumbnail. Industry recognized. Paul, what are you seeing? I mean, this thing is like blistering new. So what are you seeing in your space?
Too new. I think the problem you've got with industry recognized stuff is it takes more than 2 weeks for it to become industry recognized. There might be a lot of buzz about it, or there's a new certification on the market that looks really good and it's got a lot of knowledge to it. But when it translates to the jobs market, I've not seen it yet on a job advert. To me, that means it's not. It might be recognized for having the knowledge, but it's not there in the HR circles and the recruitment circles yet.
Yeah, and I mean, I would, for me, for my money or whatever you want to say, like I would look at TCM Securities PNPT as kind of an example, because that's like a relatively, certification coming from a vendor that wasn't like CompTIA or ISACA, where they already had kind of a foothold. And pushing a cert into market that got picked up. And I want to say, like, they were messaging on social media maybe 5 months after they launched, 6 months after they launched, that like McDonald's had an engineer, a pen testing role. McDonald's, the fast food company, like, whatever, but it's still like a Fortune 500 company, had pen testing roles with PNPT as a requirement. So use that as kind of a bellwether on how hot it is right now and whatnot. But so let's talk for a hot minute here, Paul, about the Australian Information Security Association. I'm going to pull it up on stream. This is it right here. What is this organization about, Paul? What's your involvement with them, and how can chat realize benefit from something like this?
It is aimed at Australians, of course. Caveat: I've only been doing it for 2 months I'm in the Queensland committee. So we organise events in and around Queensland and make sure everything's going according to plan. So the next one we're doing is for International Women's Day. That's in about a week's time, I think. Basically it's just like an organisation where people come together and share knowledge, ideas, that sort of thing. And it also feeds back some of the news from government, the latest things to happen. How's it going to affect you? Sort of like a translation device, I suppose, in a way.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. So, I mean, there's training, there's conferences, there's resources available now. Some of these resources, I bet you don't have to be Australian to take advantage of. But, again, the Australian segment of the Simply Cyber community is small compared to the other segments. But what I would say is this is another one of those examples where it's a resource that Paul's involved with. We're learning about it, and maybe it doesn't resonate with you, or for Gen Z people, maybe it doesn't slap with you, whatever, Paul. I'm trying to work on this Gen Z lingo so I can communicate effectively with the younger members of the audience. But this is one of those things where you might be running into someone at Black Hat this summer who's Australian, and you're like, oh, cool. Like, did you know about the Australian Information Security Association? They're like, no. And you're like, oh yeah, no, I saw this stream with Paul Charles. Do you know Paul Charles? No. And boom, you are delivering mad value to this person that you just met, using this information that you picked up right here that you thought maybe didn't resonate with you. So just some of the ways that you can benefit from stuff like this. But this is really cool. Paul, did you just volunteer? Is this volunteer? Is this like?
Yeah, it's volunteer. I'm a volunteer. Yeah.
There you go. Yet another one. So a lot of people talk about volunteering at conferences in order to get experience and get value. But I mean, Paul, I know you're not probably volunteering for this organization for self-benefit and you're doing it for a greater cause, but like, would you recommend to people in chat that it could be beneficial as far as building a network to volunteer for organizations like this as well?
I mean, for sure. I mean, if you look at so we have some big events, and like the ones in Queensland, for example, so where I am in Brisbane, we've got a big one called BrizSec. Obviously, we will get to go to BrizSec. So if you're a junior, can't afford the ticket, but you've volunteered, usually you get complimentary tickets to events. So that could be a great way of getting into. I don't know if Black Hat does volunteers, but if you can't afford a Black Hat ticket, try and volunteer, and they usually get you in. Same for DEF CON, any other events really. So from that perspective, it's hugely beneficial for your network.
It really is. And I do want to point something else out really quickly. Just again, you never know who's watching. I want to be crystal clear with everybody because I went to a conference last week, which is hilarious because it feels like it was a month ago right now. But I went to a conference last week and I had to like set up the podcast. So I was out there at like 6:30, way before the conference opens. And there would be like a team of volunteers doing like basically a morning scrum, right? Like, all right, here's the 50 volunteers. And the leader's like, all right, we need Paul and Jerry over on, this door, helping people, whatever, right? Like getting your orders for the day. It's quite possible you volunteered to be there and then you just got your ticket and then you blow off that event. Like you just blow off the work, right? You still got your ticket. Ha ha ha. You win. Guess what? That's like literally burning bridges. Like if you're going to sign up and do stuff like this, you've got to commit to it. And I would even go so far as to be, not extra, but like deliver value and commit to it because people are watching and next time they might even reach out to you and be like, hey, Paul, like you were awesome at that conference. We're doing another one somewhere else. Like, are you available? Like we'll fly you in. Like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So just, I don't know, I guess the more you know kind of thing. We have an emote for that. Did they have that in England growing up, Paul? You grew up in England as a kid, right?
France.
Okay, France. I don't know. Well, okay. I don't know if they had it, but like in the 80s, I'm assuming like you're an 80s kid. The public oh, Jesus. What year were you born?
I'm a 90s child.
All right.
Early 90s, but yeah.
All right. Well,
sorry.
Okay. All right. Damn it. Did you ever see the public service announcements with the star, like the chasing star, and it would say like the more you know, or like
I've seen the memes and stuff. Yeah.
All right. Well, we have one for the channel here. I don't even know like something funny to say in French about the more you know, like Jacques Lebleu or whatever. I don't know. Like, are you fluent in French?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God, Paul Charles, fluent in French, English, and Australian. Very cool.
Speak German too. Damn.
Well, hopefully people got the joke. I know Australian and English are the same language, so don't what's something about Australia? Anything about Australia kind of surprise you, or you find charming?
Just how similar the culture was to Britain. It's very similar. Obviously, the weather's much better, so everyone's outside more. But other than that, yeah, people are very similar.
All right, I like it. So just so everybody knows, and Paul, I like to be very transparent up here with my community. I'm getting made fun of right now in a separate DM chat window about me asking you if you know French. Like, raised in France, do you know French? Like, that's the dumbest question I could have asked. Like, do you have holidays in France?
I went to a British international school and never learned French.
Yeah, see, there you go. So it's quite possible you kind of figured it out without. Let's move on. So people are loving it. We got Lurker Zonka in chat. Nick Barker, as always. Christopher Mauer's got a long one here. Let's see what it says. Obtained. This one's big. I'm gonna have to move you up. Like we're missing our Paul Charles here. He's got ISCCC, Sec Plus, a lot of the entry level certs. He's got Enterprise Home Lab stuff, SIM EDR. Let's see. He says he's been applying for jobs and he feels that AI has been implemented on resume scraping, is not getting myself past the initial process. Any recommendations on using headhunters or recruiters? So this is a great question, and I'm going to turn it into a two-part question. The question that Christopher Maurer has is any tips on basically using headhunters or getting with recruiters, someone like yourself, Paul, to basically bypass that ATS AI system? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we do look at CVs. I've yet to meet an agency recruiter that uses we do use AI, but we use it to help. We don't use it to do our jobs for us. It's more like write a job description, right? AI will help us write it, and then we'll look through it and fix all the many mistakes. But yeah, it's just a time saver thing. I would still, go to an agency recruiter and go to a specialist one. Don't go to a high street one who might do SOC one day but do cleaners the next. You want to go to someone who specializes in your field of work, and just get friendly with them. Connect with them on LinkedIn. If they've got their phone number up, give them a ring. What was the second part of the question?
Well, the second part was just around like, are you seeing businesses use AI? And this wasn't his question; it's mine. Like, are you seeing businesses using AI to just like basically like yes or no, like kind of like wholesale funneling resumes?
Not so much yet. They use ATS. I can't remember what it stands for. Sort of
application tracking system. Yeah.
There you go. Now, there's been a bit of controversy of ATS because people feel that they are not being seen. I guess because of ATS, it's I didn't have the keywords on, and people are doing keyword dumps at the bottom to basically what a keyword dump is you put all of the keywords in your field, make it really small, and then change the color of the font so you can't see it with the naked eye, but ATS can see it. I've seen so many stories where ATS doesn't like it. It spots those and just like bins you. It's a difficult one. I'd just say just stop sending CVs and start networking right now.
There you
go.
I love it. Cam, what's your favorite? Wants to know your favorite football club.
Well, I live next to Manchester United, so unfortunately for me, I am a United fan, which is not doing very well at the moment.
Isn't Manchester United like the New York Yankees? Like they're like the big, super funded. Everybody hates them. If because
they used to be. They're not doing very well at the moment. Yeah, we're right down there on the table. It's ever since Alex Ferguson left, which was a few years ago. It's just started declining.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? New England Patriots. I'm not expecting you to know what happened there, but we've been in a dark place for a couple of years there ourselves, and no one cares because we were a dynasty. And by we, yes, I'm accounting my pronoun to be like I'm part of the Patriots. Tyler Ramsby wants to know what are red flags when working with a recruiter. So I'm going to go work with a recruiter. It's not Paul Charles, so you're already cleared as like a good person, but there are scummy ones out there. I've worked with one personally, and I'll share my story after Paul gives the red flags.
Yeah, I suppose just how pushy they are, how much they listen to you. So let's just say, for example, what you talk through what's important to you, and this is what every agency recruiter should go through is not just what job you want to do, but what else is important. Do you need to be remote because you have certain issues or needs or wants or whatever? Do you want to be in an office? Because people also want to be in an office. And if you do, where would you like the office to be? I'm in New York, so I want the office to be in New York. Great. So, and I can't move because, got a mortgage, whatever. And then they come to you and say, I've got a job in Los Angeles, even though you've already stated you can't move. Whatever happens. Yeah, they've not listened to you. So listening is a big one. Just seeing how if they ghost you, not good. That's how you hear a lot of stories about ghosting in the industry. Now, I sometimes try not to forget, but I have forgotten. couple of times, never with interviews, but just like submitted your CV and forgot to let them know. And I am guilty of that, and I try my best to not be and try and remember. But there are those who are serial ghosters. So just try and avoid them. And the other thing is, it's a small industry. Everyone talks. So you can say, hey, I've been talking to whoever, me or whatever.
Tom Pine. Tom Pine, yeah.
Yeah. What was your experience with him?
Yeah, well, I mean,
recommendations.
Zingster has a similar one. He just said he's interviewed 3 weeks ago. He's been emailing the recruiter and still hasn't heard anything back. You know, is this a ghost situation? Did he keep pinging the recruiter or what?
Potentially, I would phone them.
Find them?
Email. Find them.
Oh, phone them. Okay, I think you said find them. I'm like, Jesus, man, maybe you are in the GRC mafia.
Take it. Situation. I will find you.
Take it. Yeah, you got a certain set of skills. Our very own Kimberly can fix it up in this piece. Were you ever impersonated by someone doing recruitment fraud on candidates? What happened? Any stories like that?
That happened to me. So, I mean, obviously, I've got one LinkedIn. So there's someone tries to impersonate and they've got like 50 connections. Then it's obviously not me.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I think that's the thing to look out for, is just how many connections they have, and how many. Look at their posts. If they've been posting weird stuff, then maybe it's not me, or it could actually be me. Let's be honest. But I try and keep the post to being relevant to either the jobs market or a role. So.
Vident Sony says, been struggling basically a couple years now with the masters, a year tech support, got some volunteer stuff, some Sec Plus CC projects and stuff. Yeah, Vidant, just, I guess keep doing it. I know that's not the best answer to give you, and it feels frustrating. I totally get you. It sounds like you're doing the right things. I would strongly encourage you continue to network and like get on Discord server and contribute. Like right now, the Meta CTF is running right now from 5 to 7 p.m. today. It's a once a month thing, Paul. It's just coincidences right now. Get in there on the Simply Cyber Discord server. There's a channel for people doing the CTF to network with each other. Like right there, like that's a fun way to meet people and network and stuff like that. So definitely, I get the frustration, but please keep it up. I cybersecurity, I love cybersecurity. It's given me a lot. Paul Charles, we've been talking with here. Paul, we're almost at time, if you can believe it. My man, what would you like to leave people with? Obviously, we've got your LinkedIn profile, so and I'll drop excuse me, I'd say drop it in chat, but our very own Kimberly can fix it. Made sure that it's in the description below, so you just got to click on it. But Paul, what are you going to be speaking anywhere, engaging with anyone, events? What do you got?
On the 13th next month, I'm speaking at Sec Talks Brisbane. And events-wise, I mean, it's all Brisbane stuff. So we've got CrikeyCon, which is coming up soon. That's a big one here.
CrikeyCon?
That is his real name, I promise you. And then BrizSec will be after that, which I helping organise, so I will be there. My colleagues at the Decipher Bureau go to other events in Australia, so they'll be at the B-Sides, Brisbane, Canberra, Melbourne, Sydney, all of the Sydney meetups, all of the Melbourne meetups. So if you don't see me, but you see someone from the Decipher Bureau, say hi, and I'll be more than happy to chat with you.
There you go. And Christopher Maurer, definitely, Christopher, you're on LinkedIn right now. Go to Paul Charles' LinkedIn account. It looks just like this. Click on this join my Discord server button right here. I'm highlighting it on stream, and you can put your resume there. And literally what you're asking will happen. So take advantage of these resources. That's why we wanted Paul to come on, because he's just killing it as a community member and helping people out. And absolutely, I'm a huge fan. And did you say CrikeyCon? CrankyCon?
Yeah, CrikeyCon. Yeah.
Okay, I love it. CrikeyCon. So we're definitely going to have to, I'm going to message this stream out because Australian folks, they're not up right now, but there's so much value, especially for Australian birds to, is that the right way to use that term, birds, right? Is that like a people in Australia, like birds? Like
it refers to women especially, and it's not always well received. So.
Okay, well then scrub that from the media. Australian folks, I guess. I don't know. For some reason I thought birds was like a whatever. Okay, like hold on. Let's Carl! Okay, we'll play that one. Carl is when you do something stupid, right? Or and this one, you know this one, Paul?
You are so dumb.
You know that
you
one?
You are really dumb. For real. Yeah.
All right, so I'm getting corrected here by Paul Charles. Thank you, Paul. So for the Australian folks, definitely get some value. Guys, I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. This is Paul Charles. Paul, thank you so much on behalf of the whole community for coming out, giving us an hour of your time. It's very early where he is right now. So guys, understand he's not on the East Coast. He's literally made a special arrangements to get up and come speak with us today. So thank you so very much. Y'all, I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time for the daily cyber threat brief. Until next time, stay secure. Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that content. Keep the cybersecurity train going by connecting with the other Simply Cyber community resources. We have the Discord server that's lively and always keeps the conversation going. You can connect with me directly on LinkedIn. And also every single weekday morning on the Simply Cyber channel, we're doing live daily cyber threat briefings, 8 a.m. Eastern time, as well as Thursday at 4:30 p.m. We're doing live stream interviews with industry experts, and we produce videos that we push out every Wednesday morning. I'm Jerry from Simply Cyber. I hope you enjoyed the content, and we'll see you in the next one.